Hey everyone. In today's episode of the Top Clairvoyance Take, we're going to discuss the truth about Jeffrey Epstein from the universe. Is he guilty? Is he alive? Are the stories true? What does the universe have to say about Jeffrey Epstein and his friends? That's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about it through the eyes of the clairvoyant, myself. We're going to do it with a conversation with the universe. So you want to stick around. I'm going to talk about the sex trafficking of minors, the 2008 plea deal, the recruitment and abuse legacy, the accuser's court statements. We're going to talk about the files. We're going to talk a little bit about Ghislaine Maxwell. We're going to have a conversation with the universe that should beat all conversations with the universe. You don't want to miss this. Hi, everybody. My name's Kjarlune. I have been Canada's top clairvoyant and a success coach for the last 35 years, radio, TV, all that fun stuff. And I am doing a take on Wednesdays. So on Wednesdays, it's going to be my top take of what's popular going on in the world today. And I'm going to have just a little conversation with the universe and see what's going on. So I'm just going to give you sort of the outline of how I'm going to go about this. I don't like to think about anything before I'm going to go because thought tends to affect intuition. I'm going to talk about that in just a split second. So I had ChatGPT put together just a few things for me that I can review and come back to in throughout this conversation and see if I'm missing anything or if the universe isn't talking about anything. But before we go into this, one of the secrets about being a clairvoyant, which makes my life super difficult when it comes to my personal life, is that when you are using your intuition, when a clairvoyant is working, when I am working, one of the reasons that I'm successful is that I don't think before I speak. I do the opposite of what the world teaches us all the time. As a mom, I taught my children constantly, didn't you? Speak before you think before you speak, or think before you speak before you think before you speak, plan it out, be careful what you say, all that fun stuff. Well, as a clairvoyant, you don't actually get to do that. As a clairvoyant, the second that you start to think about things, you start to question what you're actually being told, and then it becomes your information versus the universe information. You guys don't want my information. You don't even want my opinion. You want the universe's information. So we're just going to sort of let this unfold and let this conversation just happen as it happens, because I think that that's really important. Now, a couple other things that you should know. It's very difficult for me to look straight into the camera because I've got all of these messages and all of these things that are going around me all the time. And of course, I'm going to be looking at my ChatGPT and what it had to say about what's going on, right? So let's look into some of this. So first, we're going to give just a rundown for those of you that have been living under a rock for the last few years and have no idea who Jeffrey Epstein is, or Prince Andrew for that matter, or Ghislaine Maxwell, or any of them. I mean, it's entirely possible. You could have been living on a boat somewhere with no social media, have no idea what's going on. But if you were, then you probably wouldn't be watching my video. So here's the information that we have, okay? So the information that we have right now, what ChatGPT has to me is the news coverage, what's actually happening. So we have the court denies unsealed of grand jury transcripts. A federal judge in Manhattan, Judge Richard Berman, rejected the Justice Department's attempt to unseal 2009 grand jury transcripts from the Epstein case, calling them hearsay snippets with limited public value and the potential risk to victim privacy. This marks the third denial across multiple jurisdictions. Now, I do want to keep going. I do want to say, Benny Johnson's doing this. Candace Owens is doing this. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's doing their research. This is not a research video. This is a clairvoyant video. Okay, so I'm going to take each one of these things that GTP has left me, and I'm going to answer things clairvoyantly. So I'm going to give its reasons or its rationality or whatever it is that the universe is saying at the time. So the first thing we're going to do is federal judge in Manhattan, Judge Richard Berman, rejected the Justice Department's attempt to unseal 2009 grand jury transcripts. So on an intuitive level, where I'm struggling is that I keep getting told that things are being hidden, things are being taken out of context, and that's all being done intentionally. And that is because there is some very big people that need to be protected. But I also want to tell you that I am being told. What am I being told? So I'm being told that the real, before I go into all the allegations and everything, I'm being told that the thing that maybe people don't know or don't understand I don't know or don't understand is that Epstein worked for governments. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I want to say that he was a spy, and he was sort of the spy that was sort of the highest bidder. So I feel like or I'm being told, the American government had a contract with him. I want to say there's a connection to Russia, I think they're saying. Um, Something about EU. I don't know why that's coming up. Um, so many different organizations he was sort of working for. And some of the organizations knew that and some of them didn't. And so I'm being told that a part of the process, which was actually planned and decided, not that I don't think that he's a degenerate, because I think he was, or I'm being told that he was, but a part of sort of his mandate was to bring about depravity with people of influence so that they could be manipulated and they could be controlled. Now, I understand that there is all kinds of stuff all over the media, because the one thing about the Epstein case is, I would have to be living under a rock in order to know nothing. And when I solve cases or I do cold cases or I do any of those things, I have no information. When I'm sitting in front of my clients, rarely do I have any information. So it gives me the chance to just sort of process through the universe, if you will. So sometimes the messages, when there's lots of information out there and I have been affected energetically, intuitively, when I have seen things, it can occasionally make for a little bit more difficulty. So what I'm being told about the federal judge in Manhattan, Richard Berman, rejecting the Justice Department's attempt to seal the 2019 grand jury transcripts, it says here that he's claiming that they're hearsay snippets, but from everything that I'm being told, and I keep seeing these boxes and boxes and boxes of transcripts and information, from everything that I'm being told, they were definitely not snippets. They were full blown, this is what's going on. And I'm also being told something about can't prove, maybe you can, or deny, or, because I can't promise that everything that I say is accurate. I think that's an important thing to understand about a clairvoyant too. I sort of live my career based on I'd rather be wrong and have you in the right place than be right and have you in the wrong place, because it's not an exact science as much as everyone would like it to be. In saying that, I've made a significant difference for thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. So, luckily enough, I happen to be more accurate than I'm not. But um, from what I'm being told, there were also secret closed door proceedings that were in these boxes. So there were secret closed door proceedings that were taking place during, before, and after this 2019 grand jury date. So now I've got the second one. Judge Berman emphasizes the DOJ already holds a trove of over 100,000 pages of, that feels totally accurate to me, but it feels like a lot more than 100,000 pages, just for the record. Like the boxes that I'm seeing, I feel like they could take up an entire large room. I just keep seeing this row and row, and I keep seeing all of these people going through these boxes and reading things, and just so disgusting. I mean, I keep seeing this warehouse of stuff that's connected to Epstein and so many people. I mean, people that but also people that aren't being talked about, like um, leaders, other royals. I feel like, and so many who love the royal family are really going to have a problem with this. I feel like the royal lineage, if you will, and not just necessarily the UK, plays a really big role. I, see sheiks, I see all kinds of different people, and many of them I've seen on camera and have, familiar faces, and they've all been connected to Epstein. So the list is like absolute huge. I'm not sure if there's been a president or even a prime minister, for that matter, uh, maybe one or two that wasn't connected to all of this depravity, to all of this stuff, right? Um, so Judge Berman absolutely is telling the truth that the documents that they have is so insane, so insane. Um, but here's the thing. So the very first part here is that court denies unsealed of grand jury transcripts, but I feel like the other thing that's happening is this just feels like such a dog and pony show. Like they're bringing out just enough to sort of incentivize people to get people sort of up in arms, but also it's like dangling a carrot. I keep feeling like these carrots are being dangled, and that eventually we'll get the information, and oh no, look, we're really still trying, and oh no, there just was nothing to lead there, but look at everything that we're doing. We're not lying to you. We're not lying to you. We're being lied to. 1,000%, we are being lied to. And I will tell you clairvoyantly that the truth is never coming out. Clairvoyantly, there is no way that the full truth is actually ever going to come out. Like it just isn't going to happen. It just isn't going to happen. So DOJ faces criticism for delays. Representative Summer Lee slammed the DOJ for missing a deadline of delivery. When I see this in the delivery of the Epstein investigation documents to Congress, one of the things that I'm being shown is that there are people in Congress that are in the know, and there are people in Congress that are in the don't know. And there are people that sort of, I keep hearing you don't have the security clearance for that. I keep hearing that there is so many people in the government that represents, legislations in areas that have no idea what is actually going on. And I want to talk about the vice president for a second, because I feel like I want to tell you clairvoyantly, I actually feel really bad for him. I'm not sure why. For some reason, as a clairvoyant, I really like him, and I really liked his honesty. But I understand you gotta sign your name to a devil if you want to be the next president, I guess. So um I don't necessarily believe that he agrees with what's going on with Trump, but I will say that he was quite oblivious. I feel like Trump was too, clairvoyantly, to be honest with you, that they were oblivious about what was really going on, that they didn't really have the know. And now, in order to protect the country and in order to protect the government, because I feel like if this all came out, it's not just people, it's policies, it's structures, it's foundations. The foundation of government would crumble if all of the truth came out. I mean, everybody keeps talking about that this is about child pornography and teenagers and human trafficking and sexual acts and depravity. And I understand that that's the forefront, but from what I'm being told clairvoyantly, there is just like so much more to this. Like there's policies, there's foundations, there's actual alphabet communities, like there's actual departments that would be shredded if all of this came out. Like, we're talking, the connection is so deep. We're talking JFK, we're talking the moon, we're talking the level of everything that this sort of goes into, from one level to the next, to the next, to the next, is just absolutely insane. It's just absolutely insane. But while they're having me look at everything on ChatGPT, they're telling me that there has been a lot of murders. They're telling me that there has been a lot of corruption. They're telling me that there are people that have been accused that are sitting in different countries that are living totally different lives. I'm being told, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I'm being told that there has been plastic surgeries, there's been new identities, there's been all of those things. Now, I'm also being told that there's been a report that Epstein is alive and that everybody's seen him on the island. Clairvoyantly, I am being told that he is actually alive. Seriously? That he... No. Come on. No. Goodness gracious. That's like trying to tell me Elvis is alive. Really? No. Elvis is not alive, just for the record. No. No. Is he really? So I'm being told he's got dark hair, fuller facial features now, and has had 3 surgeries. That just seems insane to me. I mean, even the clairvoyant can question the things that she's being told, because that seems like absolute insanity to me. Like, that's why? Why would they do that when they can get away with it? Why would they make all those changes? Why would they change him completely? Because he's not on the island. That's why. Which would make sense. Why would that doesn't make any logical sense. Why would he go back to the place where there'd be drone footages and all of those things? That was all set up just to screw with everybody. That was a lie. He wasn't seen. There is no footage. It's moved around somewhere. Like, there might be footage, but it was set up. I feel like that's going to track. That's going to get found out. He seems to have darker hair to me at this point, quite dark hair. And his features are different. His skin tone is different. So I'm assuming that he's either always tanning or something like that. So apparently there's a medication that I've never heard about that you could actually stay permanently tanned and change your skin color. What the? I mean, I'd like a tan. That'd be nice. You could, you're prescribing me all kinds of shit that'll kill me. Might as well prescribe me that too. That'd be nice. Huh. Now, the other thing is that I'm being told that he is leading another life and sort of working for the highest bidder. So I'm definitely being told that he's still working with governments. And wow, that all seems a little crazy to me. I won't lie. The Trump administration denies claims of prosecuting cover-ups, but some media reports suggest certain figures, like Missouri's AG Andrew Bailey. I'm being told we can't trust what's going on with Andrew Bailey. And commentator Dan Bongino may soon have increased oversight rules, possibly tied to the Epstein Files saga. Now, so what I'm being told is that within the next sort of 10 to 14 weeks, Dan Bongino is going to come out with some really damning information that is get himself in a little bit of trouble, I'm thinking, because he's not going to hide what's going on. And they're trying to get him to. So I keep getting this energy that they're really trying to get him to see the national emergency of not sharing this information. Like, this will make, and this is the crazy thing, like, it's like everything that you're looking at that's going on right now seems to be tied to all of this Epstein stuff. Everything, the immigration stuff, the wokeness, they're all tying themselves in together, which is pretty crazy. So public and media, social media sentiment, anger over limited transparency. Well, I mean, that one, I don't even need to be clairvoyant for that. What it feels like to me, but I will give you the clairvoyant answer. What it feels like to me is that we were promised a bill of goods. And I feel like this is so important. I don't want to give Trump credit where it isn't due. It's not like I'm a huge fan. I mean, he's not my president, so I really don't, at the end of the day, care. And I sort of have a belief system: the bigger my tariffs get, the more money I'm going to make. So whatever, I'll figure it out. But because I just don't like to play the game, especially as a clairvoyant. But I'm being told that the president of the United States and the vice president, so J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, did not know the scope, not even close to the scope. For some reason, I guess it wasn't so what I'm being told is that it wasn't in his last presidency, or he was refrained from information in his last presidency. He wasn't told things. Actually, sure that there was a lot of that in his last presidency, that he wasn't really told things. It's like he wasn't really the president. Anyway, what I'm being told is that when they came into their positions in the government, there was no choice but to let them in on everything that was going on because it was too hot and because he had used it as a part of his campaign. And as soon as that all happened, like, I'm being told that everybody's talking about, was Trump involved more than what is being claimed? And I'm being told, no. Did he know Epstein? Absolutely. But again, I'm being told you couldn't have been an authority figure without getting to know Epstein. And I am being told that there should be some credit somewhere because the powers that be really did try to get Trump involved in some of this stuff and some of this depravity, and he didn't. So, I mean, he's not a nice guy, I have no doubt, and he certainly hasn't been faithful from everything that I've been seeing, but it seems to be that he likes them older. He's not into the kids, so good news. So they couldn't get him on any of those things, and the things that they could get him about. So one of the advantages that Donald Trump has is that he's got a really big mouth. And so that was sort of an advantage all of those years while he was really popular, while he was, The Apprentice and all of those things, Trump Towers and all that kind of stuff. So they couldn't really lock him in, which feels good, but it is something. But I will say that he is very protective. Yes, he's a narcissist. Yes, he's arrogant, but he is very protective of the American government. So I'm being told clairvoyantly that he is not keeping these things locked up because he's in danger. The information about him will get leaked. I don't get that there is enough information about him to pose him a problem. I mean, there's lots of information about him, but not in this particular situation that would actually pose a problem or, come across as the problem. So that's not it. It feels like it has everything to do with the foundation of the government. Like, when the universe shows me things that I can understand, they give me examples, and it's like this big, huge tug of war but it's like this, if they don't do what they're doing right now to protect all of this information, the government will fall apart, and I don't understand that. I don't understand that. I mean, everything that I've read, which has been very limited, has all been about him, sleeping with underage and Ghislaine Maxwell being, and she was, by the way, she should be classed as a madam, without a doubt. From what I'm getting clairvoyantly, she found most of the girls. She was very aware of everything that was going on. I don't care what she says in her court case. She knew I think she was his handler, to be totally honest with you. It feels intuitively like she was his guide, um, sort of setup, if you will. And I definitely get that he liked doing all of those things, but she made them sort of more intense, worse than what his attractions really even were. Uh, yeah, so that's very interesting. That's very interesting. Client list conspiracy theories remain alive. Amid officials denials the supposed Epstein client list continues to circulate in alt media spaces with figures like Alex Jones and others dismissing government statements. So the client list, uh, hmm, it feels, the number that I'm getting is like over 10,000. So the number of the people on the list is higher than 10,000. And I'm being told that there are one, two, three, four government bodies that hold partials of the list. I know this is going to sound crazy, but this whole Epstein thing feels a lot like they're protecting it, like they protect the nuke codes. Like, it's like crazy, crazy protection. And it's, um, yeah, it's insane. Selective release optics. Photos of influencers receiving Epstein Files Phase 1 at political events have drawn pushback. That all feels like so I'm being told that all of this is like a performance, like a play, that this is all on act, and we are never going to get the information. We are never going to get the information. So, so this is what they're saying. This is what ChatGTP has for me. Energy. So ChatGPT thinks you want to know clairvoyantly the difference between the buried truth versus public awakening. And so from what I'm being told, 80, 70, 75, 80% of what actually transpired is actually being hidden. And that the only reason that anything came up is because there was accusations that started to take place connected to teenage girls, which is how this all sort of started to unfold. You know, you should always be careful who it is you're going to bring into your circle because eventually someone's going to leak, and that's what it all came down to. And so everybody's losing it about the kids and the young girls. And I am being told that money was made through human trafficking. I am being told that money was made through drugs. I am being told, though, that the mass majority of money that was being made to Epstein, was information money. So information money, policies money, um, government files money, and machines like guns, war machines, that sort of thing. Feels like that. Like he played a really big role in all of that kind of stuff. I keep seeing this plane going to all of these different, to Libya, to Russia, to the States, to places in Europe, to the Middle East, to Africa, to like it's like I keep getting this like I'm almost like I can see the jet wash, right? Or like I'm looking at a screen. It's like, oh, they're going there, and then they're going there, and then they're over here, and then they're over here, and then they're over here, and that's where he was making his money. I'm also being told that as much as the island was in his name, it's not his island. I have no idea what that means, but it's apparently not his island. And I feel like... So I don't know how this works because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because I don't think that the island is in the States. I mean, I haven't looked at any of this enough, right? I just watched little videos here and there, but the government, I feel like there's a connection to government policy and the island. So it's like Crown land is kind of what they're showing me, that it's actually, it's like Crown land. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like the easiest way that I can describe it is no one can actually own the land because it's owned. So you can lease it, but nobody can actually own it because it's owned. And what's really weird to me is that this island doesn't feel like it's in the States, but it feels like the States owns the land. I don't understand that. So I have no idea how that works. If any of you are able to explain that in the comments, that would be great. I mean, please feel free to explain anything I'm talking about, because I have no idea if what I'm saying makes any sense or is accurate or is not accurate, because I'm simply doing it based on what I'm being told by the clairvoyant, right? I mean, again, this is not an exact science, you guys. This is just what I'm hearing. So now we're going to go to what Jeffrey Epstein was accused of, and if clairvoyantly I see there's anything more. So sex trafficking of minors. Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and conspiracy. So I feel like there was more than that, just for the record, because I am seeing people being sold. I am seeing children being sold. So I do believe that there's more than that. But absolutely, he sex trafficked minors and got paid very large sums of money. So I'm sure the Royals probably don't want me to say this. Unfortunately, because I'm a clairvoyant, everybody can call me a quack, and that I don't know anything, which is fine. I've only had thousands of experiences with people. I know people better than most people would. I've only been a therapist or coach for a long time, but that's fine. Go ahead, call me a fraud. I don't care. Anyway, there was way more involvement in the Royals, and I'm being told that people like Prince Andrew paid large sums of money to Epstein and his team to get these girls to make this happen. So this was not just, yes, this was about having information or dirt on people so that they could be blackmailed and used. But it was also, which is why I want to call Ghislaine Maxwell a madam, it was also like a really big human trafficking ring, like sex ring, right? Like where money was involved and some depraved things like being tied up and there's things that I have no desire to look at because they will make me so nauseous. I don't want to see them. I don't want to no. Sorry guys, I don't want to see that. I do not want to see that. Okay, so sex trafficking to minors, yes, I'm going to say of minors. So it's saying underage girls as young as 14. Those are connected to properties, Florida, the island, New York. Yes, that's all true. But there was also trafficking or human trafficking of children that were younger than that he was connected. A 2008 plea deal. He was previously convicted in Florida of procuring minors for prostitution and served roughly 13 months. Yes, that is true. Recruitment of abuse and abuse legacy allegations included grooming, recruiting, abusing hundreds, if not thousands of teenage girls. Thousands. It was thousands. Thousands, because he had a business. So there is so much that isn't being said, and there are so many missing girls that are gone, that are dead, that were murdered, that died in acts. Suffocation, the things, the flashes that I'm seeing are just so, I don't want to see these flashes. They're disgusting. Brutal. Chains, being locked up, being locked in rooms, things being withheld, containments. Thousands and thousands, and people paying. I keep seeing, like, you'd think I just read it in, like, Bratva books. Like, it's supposed to just be fiction because I like smut, but I keep seeing, like, these biddings. Like, I keep seeing this money being given for virginities and so bad. But I'm also seeing other things like government files and military machinery, and it's not just the abuse, but of course that plays such a huge role. Accusers' court statements at hearing, survivors demanded accountability for him and his associations. Particularly co-conspirators who escaped legal consequences after his death, like Virginia Giuffre famously stated, he did not act alone. He did not act alone. So I can tell you that there were Congress members that he was partners with. There were leads in governments that he was partners with. He was in partnership with, there's a connection to very wealthy people that he was in partnership. There was a lot of money being made. I mean, his was like the money that he had was really the, he was the concierge, if you will. It should have been, that's what he should be called, is the concierge. And man, Ghislaine Maxwell did so much there. Epstein Files. The DOJ holds thousands of pages of documents, flash logs, contact lists, evidence. So I'm being told an entire warehouse, massively huge warehouse. I can see the water. So I can see the water from the warehouse. So I'm thinking it's an aviation warehouse that I'm seeing. It could be a marina warehouse, but I think it's an aviation warehouse that I'm seeing because I can see planes and stuff. I can see planes that are not running and not doing things, but I can also see water. So I have no idea where that is, but I'm seeing this massively huge warehouse with windows all on the top, no windows on the bottom, that holds all of this, and it's all been filed and characterized, and it seems to be it's very, very dark because the windows, it's a very, very, very tall building, and there is windows, but there's only windows on one side, so I'm wondering if it's underground with just windows on the top part of it. I can see military security, so it's a government official building. So that is absolutely true. No confirmed client list. That is not true. There is a client list in the thousands all over the world. Wealthy actors, business owners, foreign dignitaries, government officials, at least like the government officials numbers is so high, like 70% between Canadian, American, UK, everywhere. I keep seeing the dresses of sheiks. Not that I think that they matter, that they care much, because I just don't feel like it being found out about them would affect anything for them. Yeah, I can see East Indian expensive clothing. I can see Asian clothing. I can see these suits and these tuxes. I can see these parties, all this flowing booze and expensive, drinks and food and these rooms. So it's like it reminds me of what would I would imagine a sex club would be like. Like, so it's this like main party where everybody's drinking and, smoking, and there's limits, and then you can go off into these other levels or these other areas where it's like, this is the public sex acts, this is the private, these are the rooms that you can order, these are the girls that you can buy and pay for, this is how long you can have them. Oh, it's just brutal. Brutal. So the list is thousands. Epstein's death. Officially ruled suicide in 2019. He is not dead. He is not dead. He is not dead. He's got dark hair. He's got darker skin now. His features have changed. There's been face surgery, stomach surgery, or that area, like pec stomach area. He's had 3 surgeries. Something about his hands too. Something's changed with his hands. Yeah. So, what's the truth? What's the clairvoyant truth? What is the universe saying about Epstein? Absolutely guilty. You're never going to get the answers. We are never going to get the answers, friends. They are never going to tell us the truth. The truth is never going to be shared, never going to be told. You are never going to hear it. The names that are being released and that keep getting released are the names that can be taken advantage of. And there are going to be pieces that will be shared that can take people down. Okay. So there's going to be pieces that will be connected to Bill Gates, to Obama, to Clinton, to Trudeau, to a major, like former prime minister in the UK. I have no idea what that is because I don't know enough of their names. Didn't take great care of his hair. It was like all over the place, or he was running his hands through his hair all the time. I have no idea who this person is. There's going to be some advantage of Pakistani government that's going to get thrown out. Possibly a little bit more, but I don't think so. Possibly more, but I don't think so. And next prediction, Ghislaine Maxwell is going to be freed. And she was prepared for this. They were told what was going to happen. She was given an approximation of how long she was going to have to stay in jail for all of this. Feels like the approximation was off by about a year or 2. She was only supposed to be there for like 6 to 10 months, and then they were going to make this all go away, but it didn't go away. So it's taken a lot longer. But they are going to resume their actions. They're going to be ghosts. She's going to disappear too. She'll make sure that she comes back every once in a while for public, display to make everybody believe that she's suffering. She won't be. Yeah, I keep getting Hail Hydra. Cut the head off one snake and many grow back. I don't know how else to tell you. I'm a Marvel junkie, so that's what it feels like to me. So feel free to ask me any questions. And again, remember, I'd rather have you in the right place and be wrong than have you in the wrong place and be right. I can never promise my information, but I can tell you the biggest prediction that I have ever had publicly And you can do your research and see if you can find it. I was on a radio show when I made this prediction, Energy 101.5. I had my radio show there for years, and I was asked about Michael Jackson. I predicted his death, and I predicted the reason why. So, I've been doing this a long time. I've solved lots of cases. I've done lots of things, but you may or may not know me. And if you're watching me on YouTube, chances are good you don't. So feel free, take what I have to say with a grain of salt. If any of it comes true, please come back and tell me. But here's the thing. If any of it doesn't come true, please come back and tell me that too. I'm not here to prove how amazing clairvoyants are. I'm here to actually just answer the questions that are popping up and show you just a little bit about what it's like to be a clairvoyant, what it's like to see things and feel things and hear things and understand things and do things a little different than everybody else is doing them. So I hope you had fun. And if you want to be able to watch more, you want to be able to learn about intuition, you want to be able to see the cold cases that I'm going to work on and all of those things, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you again really soon. Take care, you guys.